and the omnibus. So I was forced into the Archers when I was a child. And look, it's come back to bite me later on. I'm awash with this stuff.
The Archers is the world's longest-running radio show, with more than 15,000 episodes broadcast. Despite being a rural flavor show, The Archers is recorded in the heart of...
Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a really deep dive, looking closely at some personal stories. Intense stuff, actually. All about competence, healing of the crises, and what it really costs to get a second chance. We've got two big things overlapping in our sources here. First, there's this immediate chaos on a farm, biosecurity threats, resource problems, just firefighting. And then on the other hand, we have this really profound, long struggle, someone trying to reintegrate into society after prison, finding their place again. So our mission really is to pull out what we can learn about how these huge external pressures, like a sudden death in the family or, the weight of past mistakes, how they really strain relationships and people's ability to cope. And maybe, more importantly, look for those moments where support, like social support, actually makes a difference, creates a way forward.
Yeah, these sources are great for that. They really show the emotional cost and the practical cost, too, when resources get stretched thin. Doesn't matter if it's someone's time, like Pip's, or Esme's emotional strength, or even George's social capital, let's say. Getting back on your feet is complicated. So we're tracking the farm chaos, Brookfield, Meadow Farm, and setting that right alongside George's very personal journey, trying to redefine himself, find purpose.
Okay, let's jump right in then. The resource drain. Pip's family. It all stems from the trouble over at Meadow Farm, right?
Exactly. Esme's father, the farmer there, died very suddenly, a heart attack.
And Pip's parents, Will and Helen, they've basically been pulled in full time to help Esme keep things afloat. Pip says they're constantly at Esme's beck and call.
And the impact on Pip's, it's immediate and pretty negative. It's not just canceled plans, though that really bugs her. She mentions pumpkin picking got canceled, which she was gutted about.
Yeah, and missing helping her daughter Rosie pick a costume for the witch hat hunt. Small things, but they add up.
But it's more than that. It's the actual physical farm work being pulled away from their own place, Brookfield.
Totally. The source really details that time suck.
Yeah.
Pip talks about getting this frantic call from her dad super early, like 6 a.m., jammed batch feeder in the milking parlor. A crisis needing fixing right then.
And Pip's reaction, her resentment, it's completely understandable, isn't it? She's left picking up the pieces because her parents aren't there.
She mentions her mom was already over, milking at Meadow Farm as always. So Pip has to drag herself and a sleepy 7-year-old Rosie over to Stella's house.
I mean, that's not just annoying. It's messing with her own schedule, her own responsibilities. She sums it up pretty bluntly. The whole thing has got out of hand.
Okay, but let's pause on Esme for a second. From Pip's view, Esme is the problem, right? Stealing her parents, running this farm badly. But what's driving Esme? Why is she holding on to that herd so tight, despite all the issues? High mastitis rates, money problems.
Well, we need to look at the bigger picture there. Attachment, legacy. The source says Esme is not a hands-on farmer. She doesn't have that practical skill.
Right, but she grew up on that farm, that herd, those cows. That was her father's life's work. Her refusing to sell, it's not really about logic or finance at this point.
It's emotional.
Fiercely emotional. She's trying to protect this physical link to her dad, his memory, his legacy. It's that classic clash, modern farming reality versus deep, deep loyalty to family and place.
So you have this simmering tension. Pip resenting Esme, Esme desperately holding on, and then bam, a huge immediate farm crisis just throws them together.
That's right. Pip's in the milking parlor doing her thing, and she spots this cow that shouldn't be there. A rogue heifer.
She knows it instantly, right? A young Holstein. Missing from the night's place near Wrigley.
Yep, and she immediately calls Josh, calls it a biosecurity nightmare.
Okay, let's break that down for anyone listening who isn't deep into dairy farming. Why is one cow getting in with the main herd such a massive deal? Why does it need sorting before milking? Oh, it's huge, potentially massive financial hit. Biosecurity is just everything. If that heifer is carrying something nasty, mastitis, BVD, anything, and it mingles with the milking cows,
It could spread.
like wildfire. You could compromise the health of, well, dozens of animals. Maybe the whole herd eventually. That means treatment costs, lost milk production, maybe even losing animals. It's a management disaster. So yeah, she knows she has to get it separated now.
But she can't handle this feisty animal by herself.
Nope. And the killer irony. Her parents, the experienced help she needs, are unreachable. Still over at Meadow Farm, dealing with Esme's stuff.
So the very situation causing the background strain, makes the immediate crisis worse because the backup isn't there. Perfect storm.
And this is where it gets really interesting. This moment where action just cuts through all the personal stuff. Because who walks in?
Esme.
Esme.
Introducing the Archer's Mug, where elegance meets everyday comfort. Crafted from premium white ceramic, designed with vibrant peekaboo colors inside, simple, modern, and stylish. Start your day the Archer's way, with warmth, familiarity, and the comfort of voices you've come to love. As the stories unfold on the Archers, let this mug become part of your daily ritual, a small reminder of life in Ambridge. Practical for every home, dishwasher and microwave safe. Available in 2 sizes, 11 ounces and 15 ounces, designed to fit your lifestyle. Enjoy your favorite drink in a mug that connects you to Britain's most beloved countryside story, The Archers. For more information, and to order your very own The Archer's Mug, follow the link below and make it part of your daily routine.
But she wasn't coming to help with the cow, not initially. She actually turned up with a bottle of wine.
Right. To apologize to Pip for, monopolizing her parents.
And that detail, the wines, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because what happens to it?
Drops straight into the cow muck. Sinks.
Exactly. The intended apology, the symbol, it literally vanishes.
What?
Which makes what happens next even more powerful. The words are gone, swallowed by the muck. So what's left?
Action. Competence.
Precisely. Pip and Josh are struggling, the heifer's being difficult, and Pip just yells instinctively, "Get Esme on the other gate!"
And Esme, this non-hands-on farmer, she just reacts.
Instantly. Shows incredible muscle memory, steps right up, knows exactly what to do, helps him corner the heifer between the handling gates, get her loaded onto the trailer.
Pip even acknowledges it, right? Like, great job, we did it. And Esme secures the trailer gate properly. She knew how.
That shared success, that moment of pure, competent crisis management, it just melts away the tension that had been building for weeks. Once the heifer is dealt with, the physical threat is gone.
Then the apology can land.
Yes. Then Esme can properly meet Pip, offer a real apology, acknowledge the strain, saying it must be leaving a lot on your shoulders. It's like shared survival just worked better than any planned conversation ever could.
That's such a strong point. The sheer value of practical competence, that muscle memory Esme had. Solving the immediate problem. Okay, let's make that shift now. We're moving away from the farm, the cows, the biosecurity, but we're sticking right with that core theme, navigating huge personal pressure. So we shift to George. He's meeting Freddy. Pub, pie, and a pint at the Hare and Hounds. And George is facing his own crisis, social acceptance, getting back on his feet after prison. He calls it a nightmare.
Yeah, and this really highlights how finding your footing, finding competence in your environment, it's just as hard socially as it is physically on a farm. Maybe harder. George was actually, excited when he first got out, looking forward to the normal stuff.
He mentions small things, doesn't he? Things we take for granted. Real food, not prison sandwiches. A decent meal. And, crucially, a toilet with a lock. Privacy. Not those shared cells with just a flimsy screen for separation.
He had this hope, this expectation maybe, that serving his time meant something, that people would see he'd paid his debt, treat him differently.
But the reality hits hard. He says thinking that was so dumb of me, he just feels incredibly stuck. Like the memory of what he did is this wall he can't get over socially.
The psychological barrier there is immense. It's not just what other people think, though that's huge. It's also that internal stuff, losing your identity, the brutal routine of prison, the fear, the loneliness he mentions, and then coming out and finding the world hasn't moved on or won't let him move on. He feels frozen by his past.
And he makes this really interesting comparison with Freddy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he points out that Freddy had this massive, very public event, the superhero moment, he calls it, after the explosion involving Linda. And that one dramatic thing seemed to just change how everyone saw Freddy, almost overnight.
While George feels like, what? He needs a near-fatal disaster to happen before anyone will forgive him. It's like he sees Freddy got this instant redemption ticket through drama.
It really raises that question, doesn't it? Is massive, visible drama the only path to forgiveness or acceptance? George certainly feels strapped without it. And he mentions people like Lillian, who he says is actively judgmental, making sure he knows he's stuck with what I did forever. It's this constant fight against being defined only by your worst actions.
But Freddy's response, it's actually really helpful, isn't it? He gives George that validation, but also some pretty solid advice.
He does. He points out, look, people call me Abattoir Freddy now, not Jailbird Freddy. So change is possible. things can shift.
But it takes time.
Exactly. Freddy warns him, you're not going to get one big dramatic moment like I did. You're going to have to prove yourself differently. In hundreds of little ways, he says, be patient, accept that what you did won't always define you.
And that advice isn't just talk, is it? It leads directly to something concrete.
Right. Later that same day, Freddy calls George, offers him a job.
A start, yeah. Packing job at the abattoir. Freddy says he'll vouch for him with Vince, even give him a lift most mornings.
And George jumps at it. Instantly. Yeah, 100%.
That job offer feels like the lifeline George needed. But then you get this great little scene when he tells Amber about it. Such a contrast in reactions.
Oh, yeah. Amber is just pure enthusiasm, isn't she? Immediately talking about his transferable skills from that course he did in prison.
It's finance, personal development, motivating people.
She's framing him as this highly desirable employee, and she drops that classic line, from humble beginnings come great things, all positive spin.
But George brings the reality check. Why is he so skeptical when Amber is hyping up his qualifications, his certified competence?
Well, look at the job. It's the meatpacking line. As George dryly points out, he's probably not going to need his motivating people skills to pack boxes right away.
Right.
He feels that gap, the gap between the theoretical value of his skills on paper, the certificates he earned, and the actual social value the world seems willing to give him right now.
Amber's seeing the potential future, the upward path, but George is stuck on the ground floor, worried about getting trapped there.
His fear is so clear. He counters her humble beginnings, great things, optimism with his own worry. From humble beginnings comes a life of always being broke. It really shows that pressure, knowing you can do more, but not being trusted enough yet to get the chance.
So Freddy's offer is crucial then, not because it uses George's finance skills, but because it's an act of trust.
Exactly. It bypasses the need for George to somehow prove his changed character to strangers. Freddy knows him, trusts him enough to give him a shot. It's based on their shared past, maybe loyalty.
And the job itself, even if it's basic.
It's the essential first step. It's the platform for him to start showing up day after day, to prove himself in those hundreds of little ways Freddy mentioned. It gives him routine, income, a reason to get up. It's the start of building a new definition for himself beyond just his past mistake.
Okay, so pulling this all together, we've seen these two really different kinds of competence playing out in these stories.
Absolutely. You've got Esme on one side, relying purely on that practical, almost instinctive muscle memory from her childhood, dealing with a physical crisis, the heifer. And that immediate action earns her acceptance from Pip right there in the moment. Her skill was innate, applied instantly.
And then there's George. He has the certified skills, the intellectual competence from his course, ready for, management maybe, but those skills are basically unusable socially right now.
Right. He's rebuilding his social standing from the ground up. Starting with a basic job, needing patience, needing to demonstrate reliability over the long haul. He's tackling a social crisis, not a physical one.
So the key takeaway seems to be, competence isn't enough on its own, whether it's innate skill or certified knowledge.
Seems like it. Both Esme's muscle memory and George's transferable skills were just sitting there, inert, until something happened. An external catalyst.
For Esme, it was the heifer crisis, combined with her attempt to apologize and help. That activated her skills, mended that bridge with Pip.
And for George, it was that act of kindness. Freddy offering him the job. That's what activates his potential, gives him the chance to start using his abilities, even indirectly, to build a new life.
So what does this really tell us? Maybe it's about the absolute necessity of opportunity. You can be competent, skilled, ready, but you need a platform, a chance to show it. We saw Esme's practical skills valued instantly in that emergency. But for George, for that long-term social reintegration, it's about patient demonstration, proving it day by day.
Yeah, different crises, different timescales for competence to be recognized.
Okay, so let's leave you, the listener, with a final thought to chew on, something to mull over. Considering these two stories, think about this. In the search for a fresh start, for real acceptance after a major setback, which is ultimately more valuable, is that single, dramatic, visible superhero moment that might grant instant forgiveness? Or is it the slow, steady, patient demonstration of competence, day in, day out, relying on that hard-won muscle memory of just doing the work, even when it's humble? Which path truly leads to being seen differently?
So, what are you doing now?
Just getting ready for the next episode. Just moving mics around.
So what do you do?
I do the spot effects on the archers. any
Are you what we
movements
call Foley then?
kind of, yep. That's,
Okay. And these are all part of the paraphernalia of production.
yep, that's the bull bar. That's,
This one.
yep, that's.
Haley so wanted to be in their own place when their baby came. It's due in 2 months. Not much chance of that now. No. I mean, it would have been a stretch for them financially, mind, but I just wish there was something practical I could do to help them, Caroline. I mean,
I think the Archers has had this immense popularity over the years, basically because it has always very accurately reflected the reality of life and living in a rural community at whatever